Joe Biden said he'd veto universal health care. This was like a year or two ago because it costs too much. It just costs too much, and he would veto it because he's not going to waste that kind of money. I can get you up a link if you want. But don't worry. Now, since I believe May 2024, it is August 2024, not even the end of August, we have sent $6 trillion to Israel for the genocide of the Palestinian people. According to the people on the ground and pictures that Israel tends to post, it's very clear the Americans are heavily involved and on the ground, which Biden has denied. But he's not even smart enough to try and pull a Trump and call it AI because it's just so stupid. He's like, just don't look. You know, like the Simpsons, like, just don't look. Just don't look. America's doing genocide. Just don't look. There's so many things that anger me about that. One, regardless, if we were in a total utopian society and we're still spending $1 trillion, let alone $6 trillion, to annihilate a people, I would have a problem with that. They're human beings and they deserve to live, but every time Israel hits a mosque or a school, they go, oh, that was a Hamas terrorist camp, and American media just reports that. Sure, Jan. But especially as a disabled person told I don't deserve to have more than $2,000 total in all my accounts, etc., and assets because then I don't deserve aid. The aid being a pittance of $933, which is actually the most many people get outside New Jersey, which is, I believe, $1,200. And yet, I also gave away all my civil rights for that because, I mean, hell, I'd expect them to pull us from being able to vote next. And disabled people are so tired and so downtrodden, they don't even want to fight back. And they just want to die, which is 100% the point of the American and, if you will, English, Canadian, and Australian governments. Because we're vampires, you see. We suck money out of the government. And since we're not Israel, that just will not do. Never mind, no matter how disabled you are, if you have some intellectual ability, which many people do, they just have a physical disability, not an intellectual one, you're probably able to do things. I can sew. Not on the schedule of a 9 to 5 days a week at least job, but I can sew. I can draw, I can write, I can make websites, I can do social media. I'm good with cats and animals. But see, I was born to be blue-collar slugs, like somebody who works at Walmart, which I cannot do because then I would get COVID and die, which is, again, what they want. And for the privilege, they legally can pay me less than $3.50 an hour. Or, well, $3.50 an hour or less than minimum wage. That's what I was trying to say. Ugh, still chronically ill. What? My white people, I mean, look at me. I'm so fucking white. It's ridiculous. I come from white people that 3 generations back, 2 for only 2 ancestors. And some of those go even farther back. There's a handful of my ancestors who came on the Pilgrim ship and came on all that shit. They don't care. Because once you're broken and capitalism can't use you enough, especially for what you were intended, then you can die. Just like Jesus would have wanted, because we know Jesus hated healing the sick and poor and feeding the hungry and housing the homeless. He also really loved money changers in the temple. And if you were blessedly not raised Christian, that's all opposite for the record. So this is just fucking infuriating. You're using $6 trillion to blow up and disable other people because they're in the way of your little puppet state in the Middle East, where the oil is. Uh-huh. Before anyone even dares at me that Kamala might be different, holy hell no. She constantly has said she's donated to Israeli causes since she was a child. She says she supports Israel's right to defend itself. She's called anti-genocidal protesters as paid by Iran and anti-Semites. Never mind, there were tons of rabbis, and the one in particular she was talking about was organized by Jews for Peace. Yeah. Then she said, I'm speaking, when some people of Palestinian descent protested at one of her rallies. Then the next day or so, her team went, oh, that's not good optics. And they threw in the line, well, I think there should be a two-state solution and there should be a ceasefire because ceasefire is popular. But don't worry, Americans don't know Hamas has proposed 3 of them so far. And every time Bibi has refused them, in fact, the last time in May, Bibi claimed Hamas refused it and he had proposed it. Why does Bibi refuse it, you ask? Because the condition is it's a permanent ceasefire. That there's no ticking clock on, now you can annihilate us again, which seems perfectly normal to me. They say, we'll return all these hostages, we won't bomb you, etc. We will ceasefire, honest and true. And Israel's like, no, because they have constantly said they truly believe they have a right to the land and that Palestinians are less than. Never mind, do not forget, there are tons of Palestinian Jews and Christians they're obliterating in the process. Yes, it's a very heavily mixed area. In fact, first week or so after October 7th, Israel blew up the 3rd oldest Christian church in the world, and towards Christmas bombed a church in Bethlehem, but you didn't hear about that. So no, it's not going to change. It might get worse, but it's not going to change for the better. And Tim Walz, he's cool, but he refused to meet with Palestinian families of those who have been killed because he knew it would be political. He stood them up. He agreed to meet with them, and then he didn't. So there's not one person I truly believe is going to do any change. And as someone on Threads correctly pointed out, I'd actually forgotten about this, Joe Biden, when he was vice president, said in an interview that it was inevitable that gay marriage would be legal in 2012. And Obama had not committed to that. He refused to say it because it's too touchy. It's too touchy. And then the next week he said it. Oh, and Kamala claims she met with anti-genocide protesters. He's the uncommitted. She actually didn't meet with them. She offered a photo shoot with them, and they said no, but she publicized it as she just met with them. Do not believe any of these people. And next time you can't afford your medications, remember, it's because America has to kill brown people. Kill and maim brown people, especially children.